Hi, everybody. I'm Owen. I'm the secretary of Web Dev Club. And with me tonight is also Hunter. I'll let him introduce himself.
I'm Hunter. I'm the communications coordinator, and I'm going to be helping Owen with the presentation in the second half.
Awesome. Yeah, so tonight, Hunter and I are going to go over a concept of wireframing, which is part of the design process. Um, in general, wireframing is a method of prototyping a design so that you're able to create a more basic version of whatever it is that you're trying to design. And in general, it's something you do fairly early on because of how little investment it takes. When we say design process, that can really apply to just about anything. I know here at Web Development Club, a lot of the things that we design end up being websites, as the name might imply. But in general, a wireframe is a useful step for almost anything that has a visual component that you want to be able to lay out and figure out somehow before you get to the point of investing a lot of work into the actual design itself, the full-fledged product. So the aim with a wireframe is to create that same design of the final product, but to do it in a way that's simpler and easier, which usually implies that it doesn't have the same functionality of the final product. The benefit of doing a wireframe is then because of how easy they are to create, they're very ephemeral and easy to throw away if you decide you don't like it. They're easy to change quickly, manipulate, and get to the point where you're happy with them. And they're also really good for sharing your designs with other people, other team members, and getting those designs somewhere where your team can collaborate on them. Another thing that a lot of tools have nowadays is the ability to add additional functionality to those wireframes beyond just the basic layouts. So in some cases, you definitely can get functionality similar to the final product, but in a lot of cases, it's still best to go with the low investment approach. So now we're going to just talk about prototyping in general. Um, Wireframes fall under what's called lo-fi prototyping for low fidelity, which is, like I said, good for exploring ideas and collaborating. In contrast, there's also high fidelity prototypes, which are much more robust and encompass more features of the application, which are also good for getting in front of stakeholders and showcasing some of the different features an application might have, but require much more investment. Lo-fi prototypes benefit from the ability to show an idea off quickly and cheaply without having to spend a lot of time on it, and it lets a lot of ideas and issues come to the front of whatever you're designing without needing to worry about losing a lot of time or investment in something that might not necessarily be seeing the light of day at the end of it. So we're going to go over a few tools now here for wireframing. I've sort of split them up into two separate sections, one of which is more so the lo-fi, quick, cheap, and easy type of prototypes that I've been talking about, and the other encompass some of those features to make cheap, quick, and easy prototypes, but also have some of those advanced features that makes them nicer to work with. And eventually we'll be doing an even deeper dive into Figma, which is one of the advanced offerings. So to start with, Microsoft Paint is something I'm sure a lot of you are quite familiar with. It's one of the defining features of the Windows ecosystem, and as you can tell from this beautiful mock-up that I've made here, can be used to create some of the most incredible designs that you're likely to see anywhere. Um, not not really, but it can make a very, very quick and cheap mock-up of something that you're looking to make. I won't go ahead and demo this because it's pretty easy to see how I might have made this. I used the rectangular tool to add a few rectangles, fill them in, and I put some word on the screen so that it looks just like a real website, except made in Microsoft Paint. Another low fidelity option that I personally like to use is called wireframe.cc. It's a website that I'll go ahead and open up now to demo. But what it basically does is it provides you a window here. And just to check, can you all see this website that I'm showing right now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, so what you can do on wireframe.cc is anytime you drag your cursor here, you create this little section and you get to choose what you want to make it. So you can make rectangles like this. You can also create other shapes like a circle or a star, which really just means any of these other icons. So you can make an upload icon here, put it in the middle of the box. You can make a profile icon and a settings icon. A lot of different icons you can look through, search. So we can find a profile here, put that up in the top right or something. And then you can also do things like text. It'll autofill it with a lorem ipsum just so you can see the confines of that box. You can make images, which are your classic wireframe crossed out rectangle here. And then other things like paragraphs, lists, headlines, and comments, that kind of thing. So what I like about this site is that it's easy to get to. You just have to go to your web browser. It also has some advanced functionality. You can turn the grid on or off for designing and then showcasing it. And you can even share it with others, which I think usually happens. You just need to click save, and then this link will be able to be sent to other people. And it is free to use for everything that I've ever wanted to use it for. So a good option for low functionality, single page designs like this. It also has some other options here like a phone. I think it's not changing because I've got other things in it. If you drag up and left, it turns into a select instead of that rectangular creation type of tool. So if I clear this out, let's see if it'll make it. There we go. So now it's phone sized, tablet sized, and a browser or a Windows shape. You can also just sort of make it a nondescript box, but that's how wireframe.cc works. A great tool that I like to use in that capacity. The next tool that I'll go over is Adobe XD, which, as you remember, is one of the more powerful options that you can use to design more robust demonstrations of features. And here I've got a screenshot of the Adobe XD file that Ryan and I used to design the WebDev website before we ended up making it. So let me open up Adobe XD here, and you'll be able to see what that looks like. So if we open that up here, then we can go through here and see that in comparison to something like wireframe.cc, we've got a number of different pages here representing different parts of the website. The images are real images, and there's labels, there's many different features like these assets and everything like that that you can see that Paint and wireframe.cc and those other low fidelity options aren't able to offer. And so with these tools, you're able to create a much closer facsimile of the design that you're trying to create. And you're able to make something that you could show and design based on rather than those sort of quick, cheap proof of concepts. That isn't, of course, to say that you couldn't make those same things in Adobe XD just by drawing rectangles, adding text, etc. But the additional features involved in Adobe XD give you a lot more powerful options at the other end of that spectrum. One thing about these more powerful options, though, is that because of the additional functionality they have and all of that, the feature set in terms of other areas is more limited. Things like collaboration is limited. So as you can see here, Ryan and I have both worked on this document, but we've reached our collaboration limit. So you can only have 2 editors on a file. You can also use more advanced features if you have a premium version of the product. Things like hosting it online, I believe, are possible. And in general, the powerful options that I've used are available for free, but there's even more powerful ones that professional designers, professional developers who use it for design might be able to make use of. So that's Adobe XD. There's a lot more features I could go into, but instead here we're going to focus on the other more powerful offering for wireframing, which is Figma. In terms of design tools, it's very similar to Adobe XD in terms of the advanced functionalities that it offers, the ability to have multiple frames and windows and things like that. right here in front of you, you can see some Figma designs that I created for my user interfaces course, I believe. I'm not sure exactly. Maybe it was human computer interaction, I think. But you can see this was our version of Canvas that we designed. Please hold your applause. But I think now I'm going to let Hunter take over and demonstrate Figma, since Hunter is one of the best Figma designers that I know.
Cool. Do you want me to take over the screen share then, Owen?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Okay. There we go.
Yep.
Cool.
So now make sure
You guys all see my screen?
yeah, everybody make sure you switch over to Hunter's stream from mine.
Cool. Oops. Cool. So everyone can see that, right?
Yep, looks good to me.
Cool. Yeah, so Figma is personally my favorite kind of wireframing tool. In the Hack MIT hackathon that WebDev organized the teams to go to, we actually used it, Bailey and I on our team, to create our wireframe for our app. And it's really powerful. It's really good collaboration tool. And also, as a UW-Madison student and anyone with an atwis.edu email or any college email gets the like full access Figma for free. So in terms of everything all being equal, it is probably the best bang for your buck since it is free and you get all the tools that are available to people that pay for their monthly subscription. So this is an example of just uh, a Figma flyer that I created for the Cheese Hacks hackathon. Which, by the way, if you haven't signed up for it yet, go sign up for it using the QR code in the general channel. You can really do whatever you want. You can build anything that your heart desires in it. It doesn't only limited to wireframing websites and apps. You can build flyers, Instagram posts, all the social posts I built on Figma, as you can see in the next screen. Um, it's a really powerful tool. And if we just pop over to Figma and then look at here, it gives you a whole bunch of options right off the bat to as like templates. So you can have a Twitter post, Instagram post, Instagram story, any sort of interface or anything like that that you want to design for. Is there any questions off the bat going and before we continue onwards?
Yeah, it looks
Cool.
like Eric just asked if the slides are going to be posted. A link to them will be posted alongside a link to the video of this event once we have that uploaded.
Cool. Yeah, so Figma they have, as well as just having a whole bunch of vanilla like templates for desktops and Instagram and Twitter posts, they also have plugins for like icons, like Bootstrap icons. I kind of find Font Awesome, which are icon libraries that you can use when you're developing. They have templates in the frames, like I mentioned, and you can also, if you get really good at Figma, which I haven't been able to spend much time in, but you can also start to do animations and try to build like the user flows, which is something that's really cool. And if anyone has any experience with that, I'd love to hear about how you do that and see some demonstrations. And also, as I said, it's free for college students. If you go to the link that I posted underneath there, and there's live collaborations if you are all on the college student plan. So you can have like 5 to 6 people all hopping onto one Figma and wireframing a project out. So something that I thought would be fun to do for a live demonstration, hands-on, is to create a web dev Instagram post. We can create it to be anything that anybody wants. I'm partial to promoting cheese hacks as we're kind of in that zone right now. So if we go over to Figma and you click this button up here, frame, and then social media, Instagram post, you see and it gives it the perfect width and height for an Instagram post. So if anyone had any ideas right off the bat to design this post, we will actually post it after the meeting if it is PG. Bueller.
Something tells me there should be cheese on it.
Okay. Some cheese. Did you have any like maybe like a logo?
A logo would be good.
Okay. What should the background look like?
Oh, don't just take my word for it. I feel like the like teacher right now that's just like, oh well, I have a question.
Um,
Literally anyone can give feedback.
anybody. Oh, as I am placing the image, I hope that someone will have another idea. Anybody? Anybody? Owen, Bailey. If you press Control or Shift Z while you're changing an image, also it doesn't change the resolution of the image. It keeps it as it was sized. Okay,
Nice.
it's a pretty boring post so far. I'm looking for more audience interaction here.
Come on, audience.
I feel like we should include the date of cheese hacks.
That's a brilliant idea. Where should it go?
Well, the great thing
Interesting.
about the wireframe is we can move it around later if we don't like where we put it. So let's stick it down in the middle for now.
Okay. Does anyone know the times of cheese hacks?
It's going to run from noon to noon, Saturday to Sunday.
So this is a question for the crowd. Is it better design ethos to use numbers when displaying times or like noon? Oh, and you can answer this question since you took a user design class.
Just because I took that course doesn't mean I remember everything I learned there. Let's see.
Anything else? I feel like I don't know. WebDev has colors.
Yeah, WebDev
I
has
don't.
a logo as well. The Google Developer Student Club that we're doing it in collaboration with has a logo that might look good on there. Um,
Oh,
and then let's include some things that are hackathon themed as well. So I'll let you put some of those things in there.
mm, mhm, mhm.
Oh, look at that. We can even make our logo upside down. Figma truly is limitless.
Uh, so to place an image, as I was just saying, I was going really fast, but you just go to this button up here, File, Place Image, and you can do this cool thing. Or if you want to predefine the size of an image, you can just go ahead and you can make a rectangle like this. And you can edit the width and the height up here. So if I want to make it a perfect square, 500 by 500, put that, I don't like that. I'm going to make it 400. You can then go up here, File, Place Image, and then grab whatever file you want, place
Just
it
so you
in the
know,
box, and then
we're not
it
getting
will.
the file selection dialog, but we were able to see the image once it went in.
Oh, nice. That's weird. Anyways, well, you just place that you place the image essentially in the box, and you can change it um, to fill, crop, tile. So that way you can predefine the size of the image before putting it in. So that way it doesn't automatically load as the size of what the image is um, on your computer. So here we have a web dev. I don't have the Google Developer Student Union um,
We can throw that in
logo.
after the meeting once we
Yeah.
want to post
So
this,
here,
but
here's my idea. We could have this here. We make this a little red, not that red.
I think if you pick
If you
the
click this box, you can have a little bit more flexibility in the color. And I think we want to have some text so people know what's happening. You can resize the text box. Hmm. I don't know. Does that look silly?
I think beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
You can tell me if it looks silly. So if you want to change I don't know, I think this text looks like I don't know, like it's not really popping out. So I go into this right-hand panel, which you guys can see, I hope.
Yep.
You can change the type of text. So I think I'll make it bold, and then I'll also change it to be I want to make it Monterey. Oh, but we see that. So that way I can make it a bold. I change the font, and I can also change the size of the font in that same area. Does anyone have any ideas for what the background would be? I don't know if I want to post just a white background.
Let's take a look at some of the icons that are available in any plugins you might have.
Oh yeah, sure. That's a good segue. So if you go, you guys, I guess you guys can't see
I
this
think we
drop
can see
down, right?
that. We can see that drop
Okay,
down.
nice.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So if you go to the plugins, we can first look at Iconify since I have it already in my Figma, but then we can take a look at the community plugins.
Do you see the Iconify window on your screen?
I don't.
Okay. Strange.
Well, we can browse plugins from the community.
Yeah, so tell us more about these plugins.
Yeah, I don't know, Owen, if you also have anything in the more plugins. I've only ever really worked with Iconify, but the Figma community, anyone can kind of create a plugin library for Figma. So anything you can think of that you don't want to design, you could get in a plugin. The biggest use in my use cases has been the icons. So like anything that like social icons, like Instagram branding, Twitter, Facebook, website branding, and Hackamati, we used it for like a heart icon, arrows, plus signs, minus signs, sort of anything that you can imagine that you like a button would be or any sort of link, icon you could find in a plugin. I don't know what other kind of plugins are there, Owen?
Those are the plugins that I've used as well. I don't specifically know what other offerings there are. If we
I
were
think
able
the
to maybe
stream
load the, yeah,
is throttling me.
something must be slow here.
Do you want to see if you can load it and
Yeah,
you could take the stream?
let me go ahead and take a look at that. Let me go sign into Figma here.
Oh man, you're not pre-signed in.
I am. I just didn't have the page open. It's going to be okay. Let's see.
Yeah, weird. Sorry about that. I don't know why Iconify isn't loading. I was just using it like 30 minutes ago too.
Let me make sure I can get it working here before I start streaming again.
Well, if this is a good time, if anyone has any questions or any concerns,
Okay. I can take over the stream now. I think that I have it working.
cool.
Yeah, so let me share my screen again. Yeah, so now go ahead and everybody come back to my stream. I managed to find and open up that file that I had on the slide there of my human-computer interaction assignment. I will say my designs don't look near as good as Hunter's, so apologies. I don't know what colors look good. I don't know if people prefer to see 12 p.m. versus noon. But this is what I've got here. So to go back to the plugins that we were looking for, here's Iconify. Can you guys see this window here?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. So here you can go into a bunch of different types of icons. I like the material design icons. So we can go here and we can search and we can find, say, like a profile icon or a settings icon or pretty much any type of icon that you would want to include that is common in design. You can see is probably here, given there's 125 pages. There's also, of course, even more than that if we go back to every collection. Across all the collections, I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of different settings icons, a bunch of different profile icons, all of that. So we can really have our pick of what type of icon we want to include, and that's just within the one plugin. We can also see if we can browse all these plugins. Here we go. So there's, it looks like some for grids, some for hierarchies. It looks like they have a lot of different plugins, which of course we can't really cover all of, but icons are definitely something that's nice to have and not have to draw by hand yourself. So that's where you can find those. I also have a plugin called Wireframer, which lets you create these sort of abstract wireframes like this with different layouts in it that you can then place and play around with. So you can see that here. But in general, if you think that there's something you want to do that isn't necessarily included in all these features, go ahead and search for it in the plugins and see if you can find something that'll do it for you. Another thing I know Hunter mentioned earlier was the ability to make those animations and make the prototypes interactive, which is something we had to do for this course. So you can see here from all the different arrows, this is what it looks like to make your wireframes have more functionality than just looking nice. You can see flow 1 starts here. So the way you set that up is if you've encompassed everything in these frames, which you can make in this menu in the top left here, then you're able to make links sort of from one element to another. So if we zoom in here, you can see that this profile icon has a link that points over to this profile frame. And if we go ahead and hit play up here, I would have maybe expected it to play. Let's hit this one here. All right, so it doesn't really want to start here. Let me go here because I know it works starting this way. And so this is a way to make a prototype that is really impressive to show off for stakeholders, for people who want to see what the finished product's going to look and behave like in some ways. Obviously, it's not possible to make it work like the full application in a lot of cases, especially something that might have a user sign in, have specific data, something like Canvas that'll have the courses that you're enrolled in and change based on the time and things like that. But for a wireframe prototype like this, you'll be able to see the different pages, what their layouts look like, and how they're connected together. I think I'm running into some of the slow loading issues that Hunter was also being hampered by, but I'm confident it looks like it's making its way towards the end of that bar there. While we wait, does anybody have any questions so far?
There was a question in the general chat about how to put a QR code in
Oh,
Figma.
sure, yeah. I think that you'd be able to add a QR code just the same way that you would
So,
add. Yeah, go
Eric,
ahead.
for your follow-up question, yeah, he said through image or through other options. The way I would do it is through the image as well. Yes. So if you like go to a QR code generator website, and then you just take a screenshot of the QR code, you can place it into your project in the same method as any other image.
Yep, just go ahead and grab it from your files there. I don't know what's in my downloads folder. I hope I didn't just dox myself, but anyway, it looks like this is ready now. So as you can see, the page loads in, and I've got the clickable cursor on all of these different sections here. So we could click and it'll take you to the settings page. We can pretend like we're going to upload a picture. And then, as you can see, the picture didn't upload, but you can imagine what it might look like. You can imagine what it might look like if you have any of your own data in here. And then you can go and just pretend you're navigating the whole site. One feature that we chose to implement was this unsupported operation window to show up anytime you clicked on something that we had not made a wireframe for. But in general, these type of demos are a great way to quickly connect up all your different wireframes and make your application behave in a way that you would want your user to be able to provide feedback on. We used these wireframes as part of user studies to figure out how we can improve our design, and that way we only had to invest the work into making these types and quality of design, and not need to fully implement some features that a user might not understand or like the way they interact with that would end up being removed or drastically changed or something like that. So that's another great benefit of having these wireframes is the ability to get feedback on them from users in something like a user study or a heuristic evaluation, that kind of thing, without needing to create a whole product first that might need to be thrown away.
What is a heuristic evaluation?
You see, now you're asking me to remember things that I definitely did learn, more than just the name of them. A heuristic valuation, as far as I remember, is a type of valuation where you put the product in front of a user and ask them to grade it on a few different scales. I think there's a number of different heuristic scales that we had users grade our applications based on, and then we use those metrics to decide what to focus on improving and that sort of thing. I think then
Very
that
cool.
covers most of what we had planned to go over just in terms of functionality here. So then I'll let Hunter take it back over to finish this Instagram post with everybody's feedback.
Yeah, let me take over the screen share again. Okay, I should be sharing my screen.
Yep, looks good.
So this is what I added while Owen was talking. Because so this is what I got, and I just think there's something missing in this middle part, but I don't know what. And then also there's a new color, but I don't have the colors with me right now, because my Figma isn't loading my other window. So I don't know what could go right here that would make it look nicer, like maybe like a winding thing. I don't know if that would look nice or not.
Here, Hunter, why don't
Maybe.
you go ahead and share this with me, and then we can
Oh.
showcase the collaboration.
Oh yeah, cool. So if I go with if you go up to this share button, share copy link. So I'll copy that, and then I can throw it in here.
Perfect.
Also, it looks like Eric, you're still on the call, so I can show you how I would implement a QR code too right now. I know where mine is on my drive. So if I go ahead and just make a rectangle by going up to the shape rectangle, probably want to make it a square, maybe a 200. And Owen, you could work with something collaboratively with me as I'm working. Oh, no, are you talking by chance?
Nope, not at the moment.
Oh.
Are you?
No, that you're just being really quiet. So you see, I grabbed the .png file of the QR code. I'm just going to go ahead and place it into this box. So that's how that works. And since it was a PNG, it's just going to go in there transparently to really make it pop and center it. These red lines are making sure it's centered on the page. So that's an example. If I was really gonna, if I was gonna publish this and I was really nervous about how it looked in the branding, I probably would just take a picture of the QR code by itself and place it on the box, so it just looks like that the QR code is existing by itself in the box, as opposed to having this apply now. So I mean that's pretty much everything about Figma. I've been using it a lot. If you see any of the posts on the Instagram page, they're all created in Figma. So if you ever need to do any sort of design, and you don't have Photoshop and you don't want to pay $30 a month for Photoshop, Figma gives you a lot of flexibility, a lot of power to create graphic design pieces for any reason, not just web development. It's a multifunctional tool. Owen, is there anything else you wanted to touch on?
No, I think that's everything. Has anybody got
Cool.
any questions for us now as we wrap up the meeting?
No say, no say.
All right. Well,
Cool.
in that case, we'll be sure to post a link to this Instagram post later on, so you can all go give it a like and make sure that you follow our Instagram as well as our other social media pages. We also want to make sure that you all know that on Thursday this week, Bailey is going to be giving a presentation about HTML and CSS, I believe.
Yes. And you'll learn how to put a website on the internet. So pretty exciting stuff.
Wow, look at that. So that's going to be in the Discord here again at 7 o'clock on Thursday this week, Thursday the 14th. So that'll be the second workshop in our series preparing for cheese hacks, like Hunter's been showing off. So everybody make sure that you, if you haven't already, apply to cheese hacks as well. There are limited spots, and our applications are filling up, and of course it's also coming up rather shortly, so make sure that you get your applications in as soon as you can. Other than that, we'll get this video uploaded soon here for anybody to review the material we covered, as well as posting the slides if you want to admire the designs that we made here. Other than that, I think that's all from me for the night.
That's all for me. Thanks everyone for coming by.
Awesome. Thanks, guys, for presenting.
Yeah, no worries. Glad to have been able to share all these skills. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
Take care.
Thank you.